Hey, good Tuesday morning, December 2nd, 10 a.m. Eastern. Michael Clark with BAM Weather with an outlook here on the month of December and the pattern that we believe probably produces quite a bit in the way of winter weather, especially for the Great Lakes, the mid-Atlantic, and the Northeast. It's a one hell of a pattern we're locked into over the next several weeks. We're going to talk about it today. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, share it with a friend. We appreciate that, of course, as always. This is a look here this morning at radar, and you can see the first big storm that is going up the East Coast here. It just came through the Ohio Valley, and what you're going to notice with that is a large part of that is rain up along the coast. The reason for that, there's really kind of a lack of any kind of blocking up there north of this system to allow for cold air to kind of stay be cold enough all the way down through this storm system to be wrapped into it to allow for a coastal snowstorm. But nonetheless, it's a nice interior northeast snow. 24-hour snow map here shows good totals getting up there into up to New England and the interior north and east, and a nice swath there of 6 to 8 inches of snow, locally higher amounts too, and higher elevations. So nonetheless, a nice storm system working through that came through this morning. We can check and see if we have any observed snow. We've got some observed snow totals in. A nice swath of snow came across the central portion of the country. Offered up some decent snow totals too. Anywhere you see these light, this first shade of purple, that's 4 inches or more of snowfall, and even locally 6 inches or more of snowfall in some spots here under some of the heavier banding of snow. So nice system worked through. And listen, we're not really done with this. I mean, we've got chances of snow really dialed up for the next several weeks. And this is just a loop here of the GFS model from the overnight run off of the Synoptic WX here. And all I'm doing is showing you the pattern and how it's loaded with opportunity. And that's all it is. It's just there's multiple clippers, there's multiple storm systems, multiple opportunities for a lot of snow in the month of December, and a lot of that is due in fact to what I believe is a second warming of the stratosphere coming that's going to offer up a big lobe of the vortex to sink down into the Hudson Bay and offer up, again, winter for a large portion of the country. I'm seeing a lot of shades of December of 1995, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm also going to talk about how poor the models have been handling the cold. This is the old 10 to 15 day forecast on the right, rolled into the current forecast on the left. You can see the expansiveness of the cold, especially down into the deep south and the southeast, how much further south the cold was able to seep on down in there, if you will. The models have not been doing good with handling these cold air masses at all. They add HDDs. They just don't do well. They don't do well. They're not doing well, if you will. Why do I think the month is colder and stormier? I'm going to show you 3 different reasons and 3 different pieces of evidence I believe are relevant to the December forecast and what I think that's going to equate to as we go into the month of December. The first and foremost is what I'm seeing in the stratosphere. I think it's another warming underway. I think it's another disturbance into the stratosphere. You can see it up here. You see, we start the forecast. There's obviously the warming there. And it's a stretched out vortex here at the initialization of this, the start of the run. The warming is there. It subsides for a time into the second week of December and starts to come back in a big way from both sides, by the way. A little bit of warming indicating on both sides of the stratosphere there and kind of hitting it from both angles. As you continue to go out, all models now are kind of coming into the idea of a warming again from both sides, forcing this, possibly even some sort of a split or at least a complete displacement and elongation once again into North America. And there's a lot of model evidence supporting this, putting the PV over the Hudson Bay, allowing for this, what looks to be a positive TNH pattern setting up, a positive tropical northern hemispheric pattern, which can drive a parade of winter storms. That's the GFS. Here's the Euro AI, again, doing the same thing. This is the 50 millibar temperature anomaly. Nonetheless, you can see another warming in here, forcing the coldest air on the planet over North America and the United States. There's the heights there. Again, you can see the stretching and the disruptions of the vortex. And even notice here out from the beginning, The vortex is in one solid piece here on the other side of the hemisphere. Watch what happens. You want to watch the innermost circle of the heights, of the 50 millibar heights. This is the 50 millibar vortex. But watch, it splits. You have two lobes. So you start to split, whether we have a genuine split or a displacement or an elongation. Nonetheless, it's indicating that towards mid to late December, the vortex is over to where it needs to be. That's going to keep the eastern and the southern and southeastern U.S. colder than normal, in my opinion, through much of December. And I think that it lines up with what I said last week on a very active pattern from the 15th to the 25th, now possibly out to the 30th of December for cold weather risks and a stormy pattern, nonetheless. All right. So that's one piece of evidence. The other piece of evidence is the atmospheric angular momentum, or the global winds. A strong indication from all data that we are going negative. Negative angular momentums in December with La Niñas produce cold weather, stormy weather. 1995 was a great example of this, but what I also like about 1995 is the tropical forcing pattern of 95. But look at this, negative AAMs in December. They look like this, blocking over the higher latitudes, ridge in the west and southwest, trough positioned over the Great Lakes in the eastern U.S. And here's what's interesting. I mean, it's what the model looks like. That's day 16 on the GFS. The models waffle back and forth on this look, but if you go to the latest run of the European weeklies, that's what you see. You see that look, right? And it goes all the way out, and it just continues. Now, as you get deeper into December, you get this look here, this is more of that positive T&H look, where you have some southern U.S. Warm heights, a little weak indication of some ridging being possible at times. I don't think it's a torch pattern by any means here. And I think there are storms that can run up along the coast more, possibly as you get deeper into December, early January, with some of the blocking that would develop. I think this is overdone out into the extended, though. Okay, this big southeast ridge suggestion. The reason the European Weekly is doing that, I'll tell you about in just a moment. I'll show you that here in just a second. But nonetheless, between now and the end of December, a lot of indications of a negative angular momentum there, correlation to the pattern. Here's the MJO forecast. Okay, the MJO forecast is showing a clear progression here into phase 8 and kind of looping here for a while and being in phase 8 until really about day 20 on the European Weekly. It's doing the same thing until about day 20 on the Bureau, the Bureau of Australian Meteorology MJO forecast. And then it tries to go into the circle into 1 and 2, late December into January. All right. That's where, by the way, the models are trying to see a little bit of eastern, southeastern U.S. ridging, is if you get into phase 2 in a weak La Nina into January, that southeast ridge can surface and rear its ugly head further into the month. The wild card is the polar vortex. It's where is that lobe of the coldest air. This is what people fail to remember almost every winter. You can have all the correlations and pattern drivers and teleconnections and blocking patterns set up in the world for the perfect outcome. If the polar vortex is over in Russia and you don't have a cold source of air, you're not going to get that cold. It's just not going to happen. You have to have the vortex in a favorable position for it to have air cold spill down into the United States. Period. There's no other way. There's no other source. Unless you have a cross-polar flow that's perfectly set up and it bleeds in, those are tough to get too. But that's not what I think happens at the current point in time. But that's the wild card is, yes, the MJO could go 1-2 here into early January, late December, early January, and offer up some increased heights. But that positive T&H pattern looks to be on the table. December of 95 is a month I really like. From many angles. In December 95, you can see had this above normal snow pattern. All right, this anywhere you see in here, those are indications of above normal snows here in December 95, and you can see where it had the colder departures here, slid kind of in through the Great Lakes and the Northeast, and it was overall a pretty wintry month. In fact, Indianapolis had 11 inches of snow in December of 95, and we averaged about 7. So almost double the normal there. But that's a good indication right now of where that can go. And this is the, this is the 1 to 5 on the Euro ensemble. This is the 5 to 10. Okay, so that's out through December 11th. All right, and then this is as we continue to go forward. That's the 10 to 15. Okay, so if you take this down into 1 day departures right now on the European ensemble, there's day 11, day 12, 13, 14. There's a little bit of a warm up in there possibly before another storm system would work in closer to the 20th. Okay, that's one of several runs. Here is the GEFS. The GEFS maintains a very similar look to that of December of 95. Okay, keeping the Great Lakes, Eastern U.S., and Northeast colder than normal. All right, so again, something to keep in mind here. When you look at the North American Ensemble forecast system and the probability for below normal temperatures in week 2, right now we're seeing that probability maintain itself across the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, Northeast, and I think that's a similar. I think the thought process is similar there. Again, if you get one of these instances where you take this thing and you shove it down here, you're going to be looking at some point in time at an Arctic air outbreak. Yeah, sometime in late December, in my opinion, a big one. I think near Christmas, possibly. If these forecasts pan out, that's just where I would go with that. Okay. So, with that said, the next piece of evidence is the negative SOI. The negative SOI correlation indicates North Pacific blocking and some Greenland blocking here over the last 24 years. When you have a negative SOI in December, that's what it looks like. It puts a trough over the central U.S. It's a stormy look. All right. So, what does that mean? Well, listen, I think the models are too warm in the HDD forecast department. The overnight GFS went bonkers with a day here towards the end of 38 HDDs. I think they're too warm. I think what you're going to see here on the, let's just use the EPS, for example, for gas-weighted heating degree days in the forecast. I think you're going to continue to see corrections. I want you to see right now how we are, let me turn my marker on here, from December 1st to, let's call it December 7th. Or hell, we can even say the 8th. Well above the 10 and 30 years, would we agree? Well above 10 and 30 year heating demand. Okay? I want to take you back out here to, that was the December 2nd. Let's go out through the 22nd 0Z of November as we get out far enough into that time frame. Okay? And look at the problems here. Yeah, it tries to go above there. Let's go 1 day back. You have indications or the model's struggling to get to see the cold. It just didn't have, it's a totally different outcome right now. Look at December 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. You're teetering, you're below normal to teetering normal. And now the latest forecast is when you roll that all the way forward, you're a hell of a lot higher than normal. It's unbelievable. So that is something to certainly keep in mind there. The models have struggled to see the cold in a big way here. So looks like my camera's gotten weird. I don't know what's going on there, but anyways, that's strange. Anyways, to sum this up, here's our updated weeks 3 and 4 forecast on our platform. This is a look here at the outlook from December 16th to the 29th. I mean, we just think it's flat out colder than normal. It's colder than last year. And there can be some indications of some much below normal temperatures from the Great Lakes into the north and east. Again, a 95 flavor. The precipitation pattern we again think is above normal. And I can say, I think with some level of confidence that in through here, actually I'm gonna go 2 places. I'm gonna go something like this out through something like this, that there is certainly a large potential for above normal snowfall. All right, and probably a concentrated storm track somewhere in here that offers up a couple of big ones from Tulsa to St. Louis to Indy over to interior north and east here. A couple of big winter storms I think are on the table. So do I have anything to back that up? Yeah, I do. I'm going to show you real quick. I want to show you this is the 46-day Euro Weekly out through early January, mid-January. Look at its indication, the ensemble mean for snowfall. Okay, that's a lot, by the way. That's a lot of snow. If we go to the let's go to the Great Lakes view. You can just see the outlook here. There's a lot of indications of a lot of snow in here in the Great Lakes, the north and east. That's just where I think the majority of that is focused. That's the ensemble mean for the hell of it, for some fun. Look at the control run. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's bonkers, right? It's just crazy. So it's seeing a lot of big storm potential in there. That's the Euro Weekly. The GEFS is snowy. I haven't looked at the control. We can look at it together. It's snowy out here through the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and interior Northeast as well. So there's indications of this. There's no question about it. We'll continue to keep you posted. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel for the latest. Thanks for watching today. Talk to you soon.